Hello, welcome to another episode of The Emerging Artist. I am really happy that we're here discussing about a topic that I have recently expanded in my palette, in my toolkit. And I hope that this provides you with more info and also with more encouragement to apply to your own practice and to your own way of working maybe. So I want you to remember to follow the podcast and click like, subscribe, and send me your messages. I'm doing my best to bring you one episode every week, although today is Sunday and this counts as this week's episode. So I do hope you consider your rest as I have been considering my rest time, and this is why some days I kind of shift the day of the release. But here we are. I hope you are having a great week. I hope you're enjoying the sun or not, depending on where you are. And this episode is dedicated to basically ways of working as a freelance artist. And maybe that applies to you already. It applies to your practice and the way you like to work with people, or maybe it doesn't. Or maybe it makes you reflect on different ways you could approach things and different ways you could collaborate. And there it is, I gave it away. Today I'm talking about two things: collaboration and partnerships. For those of you who know me, you already know that I work really collaboratively and I love being inspired by different people, and I love calling people my collaborators in a sense that even if I'm the project lead, even if I bring the concept, I bring the idea to the table, I love listening to other people's thoughts, ideas, incorporate them into the concept, and generally try to have a flattened hierarchy in the sense that no one is more important than anyone else in the room. Or a better way to say this is that everyone is important and everyone's contributions are really, really essential and important and valued for the piece. And if you haven't worked with me, if you don't know that, I'm sure you have figured this out based on previous episodes. So collaboration is a way of working for me. It's part of my methodology. And that means essentially, let's take an example. So let's say, actually a real example, so it's not let's say, I'm working on a piece, a dance performance, and I come up with a concept. I really want to explore something. There's this idea, and actually I will be talking about what dance performance I am working on right now with my collaborators. And of course, it's called witching. You have heard from me before, and you will hear about this in the near future, in the very near future. So witching came to me as an idea of a concept, and then it was something that I really wanted to explore as an embodied experience and to make it into a performance, a dance performance that had movement, sound, a bit of material. So I worked on imagining a creative team together, and I imagined how we could all work together. And there were a lot of parts of the components of this piece that I didn't know about. Meaning I couldn't imagine the outcome, but I was really confident and I had so much trust in the process. So I knew that if I called specific people and if I invited them to join this project, I had faith and trust in our mutual process and the way we would work things out in a sense. So I called up a few of my favorite people to work with, and for witching we're working with, of course, my creative partner, collaborator, Olga Denta, who will for sure come as a guest in one of the next episodes because I'm trying to convince them to come. And then we have Hyperized, who is Konstantinos Damianakis and Karolina Kuri. And I brought all these people together, and in the studio, we allow each other to throw ideas in and to take creative directions and to kind of mold and shape the piece as we go together. This is really valuable for me, and this is exactly why I have those people in the piece and not somebody else, because I really value their own input and their own creative practice and their own kind of their whole being as artists and as human beings. So collaborative working and collaboration is a major part of my artistic practice and my process. And I invite you to reflect on if and how and when you work collaboratively and what collaboration would look like for you. As I make a small pause and invite you to share this podcast episode if you have a friend who really needs to listen to that, I wanted to give you a little bit of a hint for one of the future episodes and what's coming up. Actually, Ola and I are working on a funding bid for Witching. It is such a busy but also such an important moment in time, and I'm really feeling the work load from that. So I want to send a message of solidarity to anyone who is working on an Arts Council England funding bid, or anyone who is trying to pre-produce, project manage, fundraise, and everything else as a choreographer or creative before we even get to the studio to do our job. So yeah, I just wanted to send some support over to you. Back to the episode now. And let's now talk about partnerships. And now partnerships and the idea of partnership is something that I very recently started exploring, because yes, I know what partnership means, like in English language as a word, but I didn't really understand how I can put it into practice as a creative, because collaboration is a big part of my process, as I said. So I thought partnership is kind of like the same thing, or it is similar, but like for larger scale. So maybe like organizational, or, at a different level, national, multinational. So it was an unexplored area for me. And as I mentioned before, we are working on a funding bid now for Arts Council England, and the idea of a partnership has really, really expanded the way I think about things, and I think about working with people and organizations as an artist, as an individual artist, but also as a dance company. And let's explore why partnerships are important. Partnerships give you access to something more valuable than money sometimes. They give you access to a set of benefits, or they give you access to a set of in-kind support, whether it being space or mentoring or some like free events, some other kind of relationship. And they also give you access to a community. All of these are super valuable and important when it comes to strengthening your work, strengthening your outreach, strengthening the impact that you have as an artist and the impact your work has as an artist to the community, to the society in whole, to the world, the whole lot of stuff. So this way of thinking has like really unlocked almost like endless possibilities for me, and specifically for Witching, that is a dance performance, but also it really carries with it a message of social justice, and it really empowers audiences to reclaim their own history, their identity. And I am going to speak more about Witching and the way that we kind of think about it and what we are conveying with this performance. But creating partnerships with this mindset. So I'm thinking about what we're trying to communicate with this work, what impact does it have to the audience, and what does it leave you with? And this is how I'm looking at who else, whether it being a venue, an organization, other people, other artists, different individuals of different backgrounds. Who else has similar goals, has a similar mission, has similar values? Who else is serving the same kind of audiences and is contributing positively to the community and is trying to convey the same message or a similar message? And who could benefit from that relationship? And then I look at what a partnership could look like with each of these categories of people, organizations, all of that. So I want to enter a partnership as a discussion, because a partnership is not you propose something and then you take from them. It has to work both ways. So think about what you can give to people, to someone, to an organization, and think about how you could benefit from them as well. And it should feel like a mutual, like an exchange of things, of services, of values, of ideas. Because if it doesn't, then it's not a partnership and it feels really weird and one is off from that balance. But if it's a true partnership, we are stronger together. And I really, really believe that. This is one of my core values. And I believe in lifting each other up at any given moment. So I want to find more partnerships. I want to create more opportunities to work together. And I want to strengthen relationships, and I want to nurture relationships with people in an organization who really believe in what we do and also who want to better serve the community. This is why, for Witching, our current project, I have reached out to museums, heritage centers, performing arts charities, venues, just to give you a bit of an idea about who could be a partner of yours. And I want you to think big. I want you to think without limits at first, when you do your first kind of brainstorming, and then start to filter things through based on what we discussed. So based on the benefits, the in-kind support, and I don't know, maybe what you can give to them and if they value that and if they really need that. So I hope that this has encouraged you to seek out more partnerships and to think about creating partnerships around you. And also, I want to say that this collaborating and creating a partnership is kind of an ongoing process for myself and the practice. And I really think that it would be so beneficial if you made this part of your routine and your creative process, to create partnerships, to talk to people, to communicate your wants, your needs, and what you can offer. Because by talking to different people at all times, in a way, of course, that feels comfortable to you, and of course it doesn't drain you, but by communicating what you want and what you need and what you can offer, people make the connections. And you don't have to necessarily make the ask right there and then, but later on, a few months and maybe a few years later, you could remember, oh, I connected to that organization. They were really good. I think I have something that they would need or they would want. So you can reach out at a very later stage. And this relationship that you're nurturing could really flourish at that point. So this was today's episode, really short and sweet, but very, very important. And I wish I had someone talk to me about partnerships before, but here we are, we're learning as we're doing. And if you're interested, I can make an episode dedicated to an Arts Council application funding for a project, not the DYCP. Well, I can make one for the DYCP. as I'm a past receiver, but now we're trying for a project grant, and it is so much work. It is such a learning curve, and I am just learning something new every day. But if you are interested in that, I know it's like location specific, but I'm happy to create something like that to kind of help you or encourage you to do that. And I want you to stay strong, create better relationships, and generally lift everyone up and let others lift you up as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.